Alright, Subpart H, approval and registration submission, approval of the scope of the subpart, scope of the procedure for the issuing modification, termination, approval of the submission of the registration report of the requirement in chapter procedure of the subpart with the additional requirement of the subchapter C, chapter applicable special approval of the registration report that comply with both the specific requirements of subchapter C of the chapter procedure of the subpart with non-possible specific requirements apply with the registration under the part subpart F and G with the subpart not subject to the procedure of the subpart of the registration report the application for approval, person filing the registration of the report with the application for the approval of the renewal of the modification of the approval of the subject of the provision of subpart, file the registration report associated with the associated administrator that has material safety attention with the PHH 32 the pipeline hazard material safety administration U.S. Department of Transportation East Building 1200 New Jersey Avenue Southeast Washington DC 205900001 alternative document would attach the supporting document appropriate for may be filed with a fast mile through the 202 366 375 3202 366 3308 electronically mail email the approval of the at.gov. Identify the section of the chapter under the registration report application is made with the report with the required with the approval of the registration special with the permit, identifying the approval of the registration, special permit number, the provided name of the street, the mailing address, email address, operational telephone number, the person who the behalf of the registration report application is made with the different with the person making the filing. If the person who the behalf of the filing is made with the not resident of the United States, provide the designation agent for services in court with the West Statute 105.4. Provide the description and activity with the registration of the report required. Provide additional information required for the associated administrator. The associated administrator determine the following lacks pertinent information otherwise does not comply with the applicable requirements. Description of the approval of the proposed additional provision paragraph of A with the approval of the application, the approval of the application for the modification renewal with the approval of the application must include the following information relevant to the approval of the application. The description of the activity approval is required the proposed duration of the approval of the transportation mode of the mode effectively as applicable. The additional information specified with the section containing the approval from which provides exemption from the regulatory requirements of prohibition, identification, any with increase the safety of property that may have resulted the approval is granted as specification measure for the application is considered necessary for the appropriate with the address the substantiation with the applicable analysis of the or evaluation appropriate of the demonstration of the proposed activity achieving the level of safety that is at least equal to that required with the regulation. Each of the approval of the expiration date of each of the application and the renewal of the modification must be filed with the same name of the original application. If at least 60 days before existing approval expire with the holder file with the application renewal with the complete with the conform with the requirements of this section. Approval will not expire until the final administrative action on the application of the renewal has been taken with an operation under the expired. Approval does not file with the 60 days expiration date is prohibited. The paragraph does not limit the authority of the associated administrator to modify the suspended terminated approval under the statute 107.713 to request confidential treatment of the information contained in the application. The application should comply with 105.30a. 107.79 processing application approval including application for the renewal modification. No public hearing other formal proceeding is required for the subpart of the provided disposition application. The associated administrator review with a application for the approval of the modification, approval of the renewal of the approval conform with the standard operating procedures specified with appendix A of the part of the standard operating procedures, special permits, and approvals at any time of the day during the process of the application. The associate administrator may request the additional information from the applicant, but the applicant does not respond within the written request additional information within 30 days of the request of the receiver. The associate administrator deem the application incomplete, deny the associate deem the application incomplete with the deny the associate administrator may grant 30-day extension to respond with the written response addition information as applicant makes the request of written. The associate administrator may grant the deny the application hold on this property. The associate administrator the discretion of the application may be granted subject to the provision as appropriate protect the health and safety and property. The associate administrator may impose additional provisions specified in the application to delete the condition the application will have been done which are unnecessary. Associate administrator the grant the application find that the application comply with the subpart of the application demonstrate the proposed activity will achieve the level of safety at least equal to the required by the regulation, or if the regulation does not establish a level of safety consistent with the public interest and equality adequately with the protected against the risk of the life of the property inherent with the transportation as material commerce. The application states all the material facts that state that contained with the non-material fault of the material misleading statement. The applicant meets the qualification required applicable regulation. The applicant fit with the conduct of the author activity authorized approval of the removal of the renewal modification of approval. This may be based on information in the application prior to the complying with the history of the applicant with the other information available to the associated administrator. Unless otherwise specified, the chapter associated administrator as an approval of which is the term that not specified does not exist, does not expire. The associated administrator notify the applicant writing of the decision of the applicant that does not contain with a brief statement of the reason. 107.711 withdrawal. The application may be withdrawn at any time before the decision or the grant. Deny it made with a withdrawal application that does not authorize the removal of the related records from the PHMSA docket file with the dockets are filed with the application eligible confidential treatment of the statute 10530 remain confidential after the application of the withdrawal of the duration of the confidential treatment of the trade secret, the commercial financial information identified unless the party requests confidential treatment of the material that notify the associated administrator of confidential treatment is no longer required. 107.713 approval of the modification, suspension, termination. Associated administrator modified the approval of the finding that the modification necessary for the form of the existing approval of the relevant statute of the regulation. They might be amended from time to time. Modification required with the change of the circumstance to enable the approval to continue to meet the standards of 107.709. D. The associated administrator may modify, suspend, the terminate the approval is appropriately finding that because of the change of the circumstance, the approval no longer is deemed no longer would be granted if applied for. The application containing the accurate and inaccurate, incomplete information approval that would have been granted with the application accurate with the complete. The application containing the deliberately incorrect for the incomplete information. Holder knowing of the validated term of the approval of the application, the requirement of the chapter, the demand of the administrator, the lack of the business conducting activity which the approval is required. Subject provided in paragraph D of the section, the approval of the modified, suspended, terminated with the associated administrator, notify the holder of the writing of the proposed and action of the reason for the raise from provided the opportunity to show cause. While proposed action should not be taken, the holder will file with the written response by the associated administrator within 30 days of the receipt of the notice proposed action. After consideration, the holder is party with written response after 30 days of the passed out without response since the receipt of the notice. The associated administrator notifies the holder in writing of the final decision with a brief statement of the reason. Associated administrator, if necessary to avoid the risk significant harm to response to the property made in notification, declare the proposed action immediately effective. All right, 107.715. Reconsideration application of the holder and request for the associated administrator reconsider the decision of 107.709F the 107.713C. Request may be written in the file within 20 days of the receipt of the date of the detail of the alleged error of the fact of the law and include the additional information to support the request for the reconsideration, state in detail modification, final decision sought. The associated administrator consider the newly submitted information showing that the information could not reasonably have been submitted during applicable processing. The associated administrator granted denies the whole part of the relief requested in form of the requesting person in the writing of the decision. Alright, 107.717. Appeal. The person requesting the reconsider the earnest 107.715 may appeal with the administrator for the associated administrator the decision. The request of the appeal must be in writing the file within 30 days of the receipt of the associated administrator of the decision reconsideration, state in detail the alleged error in fact with include the additional information needed to support the appeal and stated and detailed modification final decision sought. Administration, if necessary, to avoid the risk of significant harm to the person properly made it clear with the associated administrator action effective depending on the decision appeal. The administrator grants denied the whole and part of the relief. The request informs the appellant from writing decision on the appeal of the administrative decision on the appeal of the final administration action. Subpart I approval of independent inspection agency cylinder requalifiers, non-domestic chemical analysis test and dot specific cylinder specification cylinders.